Hi, my name is Karen Contreras, and I teach English at Jameswood High School. Um, I just wanted to let everybody know watching this video, if you have questions about anything in this video or about Workspace, feel free to contact me. My email is in the slide that you clicked to get to this video. So, like I said, if you get lost at any point or you have a question, I'm just an email away. So the purpose of this video is to give teachers a walkthrough of how Hapar Workspace is used to deliver a lesson. And this resource can be used in person or at a distance. Either way, it will work really well. So this workspace of mine is called What's Your Summit Intro? And I used this at the very beginning of a unit where students read and encountered stories of young people overcoming great challenges. And we also paired it with a book called No Summit Out of Sight, where the youngest person to climb all 7 of the tallest summits in the world, wrote his story and he succeeds. So at the end of the unit, they write a paper about what challenges face their generation and how a young person can overcome those challenges. Maybe not eliminate those challenges, but overcome them in their personal life. So this was a kind of an introductory lesson. Okay, so I'm going to go over the 4 little columns that students see on the workspace. And the first one is goals. Okay, you can call it objectives. I just like to call it goals. And you list your objectives or goals down below. You have resources, which can be videos, recordings, links to your textbook, Google documents that you've created, little cheat sheets, formula notes, or like a little list of formulas if you do the math thing or the chemistry thing, and websites. So like the sky's the limit on the resources. Anything that you think your students might need to complete the lesson, you put it all in this little column right here. The next one is assignments. Now Hapara calls this evidence. I just like to put assignments because kids kind of respond to that word, I've found. So this is where students can work independently or collaboratively to show that they're engaging with the resources and to create products, do practice, give you some writing samples, things like that. And then the last column, I have it here as final project, because you can name these columns whatever you want. Some people use them for rubrics. I was using this for like progress toward their final product. So that's how I had it organized. If you only want like goals, resources, and assignments, just don't do a 4th column, and your students will never be none the wiser because they won't see it. So I'm going to go over the yellow cards first to kind of show you how this works together. And I know this is a lot of information. Like I said, email me if you have questions. So I made these yellow cards for kind of like the flow of one activity, and the blue cards go for the flow of another activity that followed. So the first activity, as a class, we listened to an NPR broadcast of an interview with Sully Erna, who is the lead singer for Godsmack, and he discussed the opioid epidemic and what he thought people could do in their own lives to fight the problem. And the kids really like it. I can tell who my metalheads are while we were listening to this, because they started bringing it up and, saying, oh, do you know this song? This is my favorite, But anyway, they were, really into it. And some people were like, Godsmack, who's that? And then the students over here in assignments had a response. And this was to write a paragraph about, what Sully Erna said about how people could fight the opioid epidemic in their own lives, whether kids agreed with it or not, and how they thought they could apply his advice to their lives. And so they're asked to write a paragraph about that. And they could just click on that and they have their own copy. It's like in classroom where students get their own copy of things. They get their own copy and they have a little start button and then a submit button down here on their screen. And then I can see how many people have started, submitted, assessed. I can pull them up, grade them, give feedback. I can send it back to them for an edit. And you can see exactly where all your students are with that. Okay, so that was our first activity, and we did that as a whole group, as a whole class. The second one was a group activity, and I went ahead and arranged students into groups, and I'll go over groups in a few minutes. And each group watched a short video about a young person who overcame a big challenge. And I kind of tried to group kids based on their interests because I kind of knew them pretty well at this point in the year. And so they had to watch a video about the young person. And then their individual evidence or assignment was to open up a Google form, which I put in here. And we'll just open it up and you can see what they saw. A question, what is the difference between overcoming a challenge and solving a challenge? And then who's their video about? What was the challenge the person faced? So these are kind of some just comprehension questions, but it's to get them thinking, what did they do to overcome the challenge? And then I'm asking them to think about some big challenges they face currently. And what are some ways people their age can deal with challenges that can't necessarily be solved. They aren't going to just go away. So some of the kids, because we were in class, they would meet together and talk about these things and work as a group. But also I had some kids who just worked on their own with this. So they submit that, and then I see the results when I click on that. So those were the blue cards. Okay. So I'm going to go briefly to groups, and then I'm going to discuss this final column, because once I discuss groups, it'll just make more sense. So I have groups over here, and the way I do it, I just pile all of my ninth graders into one big group. So I can have students who are in first period, fourth period, and eighth period. So those are groups. And then for the videos, I put the students into 4 groups that I named Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff and all that good stuff. And you want to be careful with which group they're in. So, if somebody's a Cowboys fan, don't put them in the Redskins group, okay? That being said, you can group the students that way, and you'll see on here that I have, which group is doing what. And so because I had them grouped by class, at the end of the lesson, each class had their own card over here at the end, and they looked at what the responses were to those questions that they did in groups. And then for their final project, I had a document, a Google Doc, that was editable by all of them, and they could go on and just start creating a list of challenges kids their age in this generation face. And I put it on the board so they could kind of see the list coming up in real time, because they're going to be brainstorming for their paper. And plus, kids would put checks next to the ones that they thought of that maybe another student wrote down. So this was an area for them to collaborate and brainstorm for their topic. This was first period, and this was fourth, and this was eighth. And the reason I split it up that way was I didn't want to have first period's answers there, and then fourth period all their thunder stolen, and they don't have anything to contribute. So you can group kids into different classes, into different groups, maybe based on interest. Everything is there for you to access at any time, so you can see how students are doing. I might have a student who didn't even start this, and maybe they were just kind of out to do. I see who has started it, who submitted it, that sort of thing. I can send little reminders to the ones who haven't submitted yet, and you can assess them and record their grades. in an easy format. Um, Again, I know this was a lot of information, in a little bit of time. So feel free to let me know if you have any questions about using Hapara Workspace in the classroom. Thanks so much.